What's up, ONYXCON family? This is the voice of Joseph R. Wheeler, the third artist, founder, and the president of the ONYXCON Foundation with a special flip through presentation. Flip through is our, as you're about to see, flip through a comic book, a book, or something of that nature, or when we peruse the aisles at stores and show you toys and games and all kind of really cool stuff, we're flipping through. We're also going to do a review. As I go through the book, I'm going to talk about Godzilla Minus One. Just saw it. It was amazing, and it made me want to go back through my archives of ONYXCON and look at this famous book that I have. This is a collection from Japan. It's a Japanese book, obviously. It's all in Japanese, and this came out probably in the 90s, somewhere in there. And I have a lot of these, or enough of these types of books that have collections of rare, hard to find movie posters, things of that nature, things I really enjoy as an artist myself, being a visual artist, but also as a fan of Godzilla and films that came out of Toho. Toho, T-O-H-O, is the film company that produces the original Godzilla films. And Godzilla is an original Japanese concept. It is from Nihon. It is from Nippon, which is Japan, okay? And to Japan, I want to give a special shout out for what you've given the world with ONYXCON's love for Godzilla and my personal love for Godzilla, okay? Okay, arigato gozaimasu. Arigato gozaimasu. Thank you so much. All right, I love the books I've gotten from Japan. For one thing, look at the level of detail and printing. This is just, that was just the sleeve I was showing y'all. This is the actual cover of the book. And then on the inside, you got this like rice paper. Absolutely beautiful, soft touch, wonderful. Very first page, we started off major with one of my absolute favorite films from the 90s. You got Godzilla versus Destroyer. All right, and trust me, I'm about to start talking about the more recent film, but I just wanted to go through this. Like I said, you're getting a double whammy today. We're doing a flip through, and we're going to discuss the movie that just came out it came out in Japan maybe a month ago, and we're lucky to live in a time in America where we can get access to films from Japan pretty much, or anywhere in the world that gets an agreement made to put these in theaters before we have to wait for them for years to come out. I come from an era where, heck, we had to wait. We really had to wait, y'all, to see a lot of this stuff. These are, of course, old Godzilla films from the 70s. And I love these posters, these prints, these movie posters. I wanted to start collecting these when I came out of college. I found out how much how much these movie posters can go for. Some of them in the hundreds, some of them in the thousands. And I said, well, I think I'll just get some books because I can't afford to get those actual prints. But there was a place here in Atlanta, and ONYXCON hails from Atlanta, Georgia, and it was called Showcase Collectibles. If you know about it, you know about a very special place. And it had a lot of these movie posters, or access to get you, if you wanted a certain poster they didn't have, they could find a buyer and put you in touch with them, like kind of like a go-to eBay type culture about this store. It was amazing. They had toys, they had movie prints, you could rent Godzilla and other Daikaiju, which is giant monster, Daikaiju films from them. And that's how I rekindled my love from my childhood when I was in college, because I didn't even realize that movies like Destroyer, going back to that real quick, that movies like this had even come out in the 90s until after I graduated in 97, Atlanta College of Art, stand up, shout out. And, I really fell back in love with the whole genre and realizing that there was at the time, modern version of one of my favorite characters still being made. That was around the same time I really kind of came back hardcore into collecting comics, because I never stopped loving all the mediums. But art school, if any of my visual artists out there, art school has a way of trying to break you. It may not be like this anymore because you got people my age who are not a professor, so I'm sure it's not like that anymore. But you had that old guard that didn't really respect comics. They liked it when they were little, and they looked at it like, oh, you're supposed to grow up out of that, to try and talk you out of being in the comic book world or being in the film, sci-fi, fantasy, any of that. I mean, unless you went to a school that specialized in that. And a lot of the fine art schools back in the day just did not. I went to Pratt my first year, foundation studies, and then I kept going. And came home, transferred to Atlanta College of Art, finished in 97. So just giving you a little history of who is speaking to know, why I love what I love, the way I love it when it comes to art in general, but especially visual art. So as you can see, there's more than just Godzilla in this book. It's a lot of horror films. Some of these I have no idea what they say or what the movie is. Even some of the Daikaiju concepts, like I can't say I even know the name of that character, but it looks pretty damn cool. Oh man, it's like a gliding reptilian monster. Really, wow. I haven't seen a lot of these. This one's, I can see, even though all the writing is in kanji, it says at the bottom 1958, so that gives you an idea of when that came out. And that's a good segue into my main point I want to start with before I start talking about the new Godzilla film that you can now see, Godzilla, or as, if I want to get really formal, say Gojira, because it's Gojira in Japanese, Gojira -1. If it were not for a film created in 1954, that was the first Godzilla King of Monsters, the very first Godzilla film, a lot of this would never have existed. You feel me? And so I always pay homage to that. And they're paying homage with this film. Literally, there are scenes in this movie that are, and even the tone of it and the time of it is it's a period piece. It's going back to the 40s. It's right after it starts right after World War II, or towards the end of World War II, what became the end. And then it tells a very unique story about the people and the emotional aspects of the fallout of war and the fallout of trying to rebuild after all of this destruction and terror. And so that's a big part of that movie. And I really enjoyed that about it because it's just Mothra, of course. You always know Mothra when you see the larva, and then of course there it is. Yeah, one of our favorites. We all love Mothra. At least I do. I like Mothra. I think Mothra is cool. The bat that Mothra fought, I like that too. I like all these creatures. Like that's a really dope poster. If I could afford to get that one, look at that. Look at the lettering. Mothra, Mothra. You could just hear the singing. I love it. I love it. So yeah, it dealt with what you see in this poster. This is the last war. It does say that. I don't know if that's the title of the film, but it's not always, but there's a lot of references to, in Daikaiju film, the impact of nuclear war. As we all know, Hiroshima and Nagasaki were bombed by the U.S. government. I always specialize by saying the government because, there's the people and then there's the government, right? There's the military, there's the people, and then there's the government. No disrespect to anybody who served. I always say, again, the people in the military, and then there's the government. So they even deal with that a little bit in the movie. They get into some perspectives on that. You hear statements being made in the movie by characters in so many words saying how they have, a lack of trust or respect for the government. They love their nation, but they don't trust their government because they're holding the truth. Like there's an attack that happens in the movie and they know it. I forget the exact words, but the line was something to the effect of, they have a good way of covering up everything. Like they're not even gonna tell people the truth about what just happened with this giant monster. And you gotta think this is based in the 40s. So even with photography and everything, they could limit in the press back then. There were no cell phones. When people couldn't just everybody pull out cell phones. We all saw the same monster and stuff. So it was a really cool perspective on, how propaganda and stuff could be used to keep people in a steady state of danger when the government and other folks really don't know what to damn do in some of these disasters. They just don't know what to do. And it's all metaphor. I loved it. Another comparison I noticed about this movie, looking at this Godzilla -1, is that it definitely dealt with post-traumatic stress, post-traumatic syndrome, PTSD, and everything, and the effects of that on soldiers. The main character, who was a fighter pilot and supposed to have been a kamikaze pilot. I'm not going to give away any major, plot twist or anything, but I'll just say he dealt with feeling like between himself and some of his actions and other things, people tried to make him a coward. Some of his fellow soldiers tried to dog him out, and even, citizens tried to make him feel less for having survived the war instead of celebrating the fact that he survived. and that he had enough sense to put himself first. Like, yo, I got one life to live. I want to live for something. I mean, it's not all about death. And I won't give away everything, but I'll just say that was a big part of symbolism and message in the movie. Really, really well done in that respect. I really enjoyed that. As you see, another Godzilla film here. That's Godzilla versus Mothra, I think. I'm pretty sure that is. Old poster. Yep, Godzilla against Mothra. They got it in English here in the corner. So, yep, that was one of the original posters. Really dope. And, yeah, they really deal with that. They deal with the aspect of, what it does to family, all this war, and what it will do in generations when people get old enough to realize what happened and all of that type of thing. It went deep, and I really enjoyed it for that. Now, as far as the monster itself, which is what we all really well, if you're a fan like me, you want to see that more than anything. You can't wait to see Godzilla. They wasted no time, I want to say. Within one of the first scenes, you get a real big sit yourself down and respect classes in session, and Godzilla is king kind of lesson to set the tone, and which I like that about a good film, a good monster movie. I love creature features, and I like when you're not gonna let it, get labeled as I don't really like this phrase, but people say in America a popcorn movie. What's that mean? We all eat popcorn, most of us, when we go see a movie. What are you really saying? But what the phrase means is, it can be silly, it can be over the top. Don't take it too serious. We're not really trying to make you think. We just want you to sit down, have a lot of escapism for 2 hours, and get up out of here. Thanks for your money. No, this is well produced, well thought out, deep meaning, deep emotional impact, well acted. You will get a sense of you won't get necessarily shocker, thriller level fear from when Godzilla is on the screen, but you're gonna respect the power of what he can do. I mean, I've seen so many Godzilla films. I've almost seen every Godzilla film ever made, Japanese and American. And in any of them, there are different tones. You have some that are, depending on the market and when it was made and who was the target energy or market, they were more silly. They were more, kind of, like this era of the 60s, as we like to, we adore this forever because I grew up on this. But these, at the end of the day, looking at them now, it's almost damn near cute. It's on the level of how we got older and saw the monsters in the Power Rangers. It was campy. But it's still forever, it's classic. So you got to respect it, because if it wasn't for this, they wouldn't be what we're talking about. But people had to remember, even though the very first film, 1954, looked campy, it was a serious film. It had a serious tone. There was nothing campy about that black and white film. It was hardcore. And this is a modern, full-color, hardcore film that has been made with -1, and I think people will respect it for that, especially if you're a fan of Godzilla. So, yeah, definitely, you're gonna enjoy it if you like more serious sci-fi, more adult consideration in your fantasy and sci-fi concepts. Then this is for your age bracket. It ain't for little kids. They might have nightmares looking at this. As an uncle, I laugh thinking to myself, this ain't the one you take my niece and nephew, because one of them gonna be talking about, this is scary. No, it's not. It's not for them. It's not for them. It's for teenagers and up. That's it. And well done. This movie is getting Oscar nods, which is incredible for a monster movie. We're in a new day, and I'm happy to see it finally. A movie can be emotional like this is, but it can have something that's supernatural and fantastic and still be worthy of that level of award consideration. And I don't look at the Oscars as the end all be all, but it just says a lot for the credibility of what they made, and I like that they're giving it that respect, and I definitely think it will win something, and it better. After they even said that they're considering, they better give it something. It deserves it. It really does. It was damn well acted. You don't have to know Japanese to feel the emotion, and I'm so glad that even in the import, it was insisted that there would be no, I don't know if it was insisted upon, but I'm glad there was no dubbed version. I'm glad I didn't have to sit through a bunch of, American actors with snarky voices that don't fit the scene and all that, or some English accents and all, none of that mess. It is the original audio with subtitles. So if you don't like reading subtitles, well, you know, you need to mature your palate. It's not the kind of, you know, unlike a lot of some American, I won't say all, some American movies, the dialogue is not so heavy that you got to read a whole paragraph to understand a scene. It's real quick, prophetic statements, almost poetic in most scenes. And you're going to sit there and say, woo, wow. Like, man, can I take a picture of that scene with that subtitle? Because that was profound. Like, there were a lot of moments like that, and I enjoyed that. So, yeah, if you don't mind reading subtitles, again, you're in for a treat. Hope y'all are enjoying this flip through while I break it down. But yeah, this is one not to miss if you're a serious Godzilla fan. When I speak of camp, oh my gosh, these were obviously the ones when they made them. These might even be more for the TV shows. Yeah, I see Jet Jaguar and other. Oh my gosh, wow. Yeah, these are the ones I would see after school. And sometimes I never knew the title or which one I was looking at. All I cared about is I saw some monsters on the screen, some humans thinking they were bad enough to take it on and getting blown to smithereens and stepped on. And it was hilarious. It was just chaotic fun, you know. This is the root to why, even as an adult, you like that fantasy of nobody's getting hurt, but there's massive destruction, and I get to watch it in the comfort of home or whatever, and just, you know, and then be theoretical about it later when you're old enough to understand what you're really watching, you know? So yes, y'all, do not miss, I repeat, do not miss Godzilla Minus One. On my scale of ratings, and to give you a perspective on that, to fully understand, I rate movies based on the ONYXCON scale. So for every letter in ONYXCON, we give a level of rating. A O would be like, you know, I tried to watch a movie, I barely made it through it. A 2, you know, the ON on would be like, yeah, I made it through it. I don't know how I did. That was crazy. What the hell was that? They need to redo everything or whatever, but somehow I made it through it, so I can't front. At least it was enough for me to watch it. Then ONY with the Y, ONY, would be a 3. And that would be like, it's decent. It's not bad at all. I definitely recommend it if you like this type of movie. You know, it gets into just genre specific. You ain't trying to recommend it to everybody. You ain't gonna tell somebody who only likes love stories to go see a horror movie if they hate that. But if you like, for example, the first Candyman and the last Candyman, the more modern one, which I think are both classics, then I would recommend it to you. You know what I mean? I would highly recommend it to you. Okay. And then you got Onyx with the X. That would be, this is for sure solid. I guarantee you this is a classic in its genre. Do not miss this if you like these types of movies. It's on the precipice of being a game changer, and it was well done and excellent. It's a classic in the genre. That's Onyx. I was just talking about Candyman. Candyman, the first one and the second, and not the first one, the first one and the very last one, the most recent one. To me, both of those are Onyx. They're solid classics. And we're not here to talk about that right now, but I just want you to get a gauge for how I rate these things, okay? Then Onyx with a C, going into the con. Okay, now you're outside of even just the genre as being a great classic film. This is shifting the market. This is hopefully gonna bring in a new day of these types of films, and people, whether they say they like this type of stuff or not, everybody's gonna want to see it. You know, it's got the effect of, I haven't seen the new Barbie film, but the way people talked about it and how it made people who would never go see something like that go see it just because of the hype. Like I say, if it's as good as the hype, that would be an Onyx C. I'm not saying it is. I haven't seen that movie. All right. But I will say this movie is. Godzilla Minus One is Onyx C. It's at that level. Why not ON, full ON? Why? Okay. The O would be, when it's ONYXCON with the O, almost to the end of the full word, that's when it's absolutely a absolute game changer, a must-see film in or outside of the genre. Most people in the world should have seen this. And ONYXCON with the N, absolute final, you need to see this just to understand what everyone's talking about when they reference it. It's Star Wars. It's Star Wars. It's Star Wars Empire Strikes Back. It's Return of the Jedi. Everybody should have seen at least one of those movies in their lifetime and have knowledge of what at least 3 major characters are. You got to know who Luke Skywalker is, Princess Leia, Chewbacca, Vader, Yoda, somebody of major, importance in the storyline, and then you're in the conversation, or you can understand the jokes or the references, and it's that level, okay? It's reading comprehension. It's required reading as it used to be when I was coming up in school. There were certain books you had to know. You had to know 1984, George Orwell, so you can understand when people reference, hey, Big Brother. You ain't like, what did it mean? Who's Big Brother? What are you talking about? That's the level of a full ONYXCON. It's that level of classic, right? So I'm not saying that -1 is on that level where everybody just has to see it, but if you're a Godzilla fan, hell yeah, you got to see it. That's 4 level. That's ONYX. Now, I give it the C extra because even outside of that, people are going to be talking about this, and it's already breaking records on the American and international scale, and I think it's going to be one of those movies that people feel silly not to have seen and will sit down and watch it whether they like the genre or not. So even outside the genre, it's pushing boundaries. So it gets that. So here again are the films that brought me back into the fold back in the day. Now that right there is the 1980s American film, 1984 to be exact. Oh my gosh, I remember that. I haven't seen that in forever. I might try and sit down and find that and watch that again. Oh wow, that's crazy. But yeah, so there's that. Then you had Godzilla. This is another poster here. 1984. It says 84. And this is one of the ones where he melts down. I remember that, which was incredible. Godzilla versus Ghidorah, 1991. Like I say, most of these were in the 90s. Godzilla versus Ghidorah, another version of the same movie poster. Versus Mothra. Down here, that's 92. And here's Ghidorah again. They had a bunch of different versions for Ghidorah. Biolante, the plant type monster. That is, they don't have a date. I can't see some of them I'm looking for. They always have in parentheses sometimes. You can see it against the kanji. Okay, here we go, 1989. And that's the one I like, that painted one. This is cool with the image from the movie, but that still is cool. But that, oh my gosh. Those painted covers, y'all, those paintings, to this day, I want all of them. One day. Oh, Godzilla versus Space Godzilla. Dope. Fun. And there's a recent comic that I wish I got it. I did a quick flip through for y'all on our YouTube here. And it's a short, and it's really beautiful artwork. I didn't buy it, and I wish I had. I kick myself all the time because when I came back to the store, it was gone. No one knew what I was talking about. I was like, really? They got too much stuff at the store I go to. I was like, I got to find that book. Because it was amazing. That's 1994. This is not a Godzilla movie, but I love this because I saw this movie, and I'm trying to remember the name of it. Oh my gosh. I rented this back when I used to go to Showcase, the place I was telling y'all about. And what they would do is they would take laser discs. This is going how far back this history of deep fandom goes, right? They would have laser discs, and they would make dubs on VHS. And I got this on VHS, the rental of it, and watched it. And I can't remember, it was a fantasy. This was all fantasy. This main creature looked just like Ghidorah, of course, and it was probably the same production studio, probably still Toho. And you see it has multiple heads like a Hydra. That movie was dope. I remember it was pure fantasy. Really wild, like, ancient fantasy vibe. The cable work where folk are flying around. You got, you see there's a flying creature that the main hero is on right there. This was dope. Godzilla versus Mothra. Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla. 93. Ooh-wee, y'all. We going back now. That's my high school era right there. And I didn't even know this had came out. And like I said, until college, around 96, 97, that's when I woke up to the fact all these movies had been made in Japan. And I said, oh my God, I'm late to my own party. But I tell you what, I got my stuff. I got into it. I found a way. So there you have it. I think oh, here's some more. There's a few more. The lobby cards and all that, the variations. Some of the horror movies and things. Really dope art. I just love to see that lettering against those vibrant Technicolor style, almost painted looking photographs. Love that. Love that style, that whole era. So yes, y'all, there's a whole nother world, and that's what we bring you here at ONYXCON. We always edutain, and if you're enjoying this, I know there's gonna be some real fans that's gonna see this and really appreciate this, because either you have this book, always wanted this book, or wanted the posters in it, and all of this is just like pure nostalgia and a dream come true to see it even this close. And we appreciate you for joining us. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you go over to our Instagram and subscribe for 99 cents a month to our main feed. We got multiple pages, but our main feed at ONYXCON. And of course, it's still free here to subscribe to ONYXCON. We appreciate y'all. Peace. And go see Godzilla -1.